Well, Paul, we're in the media room, which we've been in many times over the last 11 years.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be the last time, though. So you'll explain that you've decided to sort of step down on a permanent basis.
Yeah, it's been a very, very hard decision. Like you say, 11 years of doing interviews with you, starting off well, Paul, and we're going to finish it off saying well, Paul. Yeah, listen, it's a very, very difficult decision to make. I've absolutely loved every minute of the first 10 years. I found this year, I've got to be honest, very, very difficult. The travelling, coming up Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and obviously on the Saturday, has just become too much. And for once, I'm going to sort of put myself first and my family first. It's important. I'll get closer to home. I'll still be involved in football because I'm a football nut, but I think I'll put everything into the football club, put my heart and soul into it. I've met some amazing people and some amazing times, and as I said, I was genuinely hoping that this month's break would get my head sorted out, but the more I've been away, the less I've missed the travel, if I'm being honest. So I made a very hard phone call to Bruce last week, and here we are today, like I said, coming to support the team and saying goodbye to the players as well, and saying goodbye to the directors, and realising that everything's got a start and an end, but it's been the best start and the best end that I could ever have hoped for.
You're going to see the players after the game today?
Yeah, it's not right to do it. I haven't told anyone yet, so I'm going to be quite emotional after the game, but the players, football's normally quite transient. You see people move around a fair bit, and that's probably not been the case here. We've had a really settled squad here for 3 or 4, maybe 5 years now. But we all get older as well. I'm not in my 40s anymore, able to go bang bang up the motorway and not even think about it. And a few minor health issues with diabetes kicking in for me as well. So like I say, it's been a very, very hard decision, but one that's been coming for probably since the Bournemouth semi-final defeat, if I'm being honest.
11 years, it's been a heck of a ride. I remember coming into the club when we'd just been relegated from the National League South into the Ryman League. It needed a shake-up, and I think everybody was saying my word, it got one.
Yeah, as I said, I met the board. I think I'd only left Eastleigh a couple of weeks before, and met Bruce and met the fantastic character Barry Applin as well, and Brian Williams and Graham Starnes and all the people that are still with us now. And one of the things that struck me about the club was, they were still darning socks in those times. They didn't have a proper training facility. Barry took me down to a local gym where they used to do some work in the evenings. And he said, don't leave your car at the gym because it might get scratched or stolen. And then he took me down to the local rec where they used to train, and it was honestly, the grass was about 8 or 10 inches long, and you couldn't have played football on it. So I knew when I got here there was a huge task in front of me, but it's one that I sort of decided to get stuck into. And as I said, it was a tough opening. I remember one of the first memories actually as a Sutton manager. Didn't realise the amount of away support that we would always have as well. I remember going to Tooting and Mitcham in one of my first games at the club. I remember being 4-0 down in about an hour, and my dad was in the crowd. Actually, he was amongst the Sutton crowd, and there was easily 300 to 400 Sutton fans at that day. And I think they must have all wondered what Bruce had done, because I must admit I looked at that myself, and it was a lot of work to do. And we've had some amazing times, but like in football, I think the analogy for me, it's 90-10. There's been some 90% as well in there. I remember Ramsgate, I think a game that you and I were talking about that same season, Ramsgate away. I think it was a torrential rainstorm, it was freezing cold. I'd had a scrap in the dressing room amongst my players. We were 1-0 up and lost 3-1 at Ramsgate, and I remember coming out to you for that next interview, and you went, "Is everything all right?" I think you'd heard the commotion. And I said, "Yeah, Tony, it's great." And we that season managed to push on and still make the playoffs, and that was with a side that was put together in the space of about 4 weeks. So that first season was an eye opener, but there was progress on and off the pitch every season, and that was one of the real important things for
me. You set the foundations, because having done it in that way for one season, you knew that we could carry on and keep progressing.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that we've always done here as well is, Bruce is he's the best chairman that you could work for, and the relationship I've had with him has been phenomenal. But the one thing that we've always been very tight together on is the budget. The club's always had a certain budget to spend. He's happy to spend every penny of it, but also not that happy if we go over it. And that's something that the two of us have worked so well on over the years. The budget's obviously got bigger and bigger as we've progressed. It's got bigger and bigger with the advent of the 3G pitch and the support base that we've now got, and it's turned us into a competitive National League team. And that was something I probably didn't ever dream of. I always thought we'd be a good Conference South team. That was the goal, was could we become a good Conference South team. To win the league that year, I think it was about a 20-game-ish unbeaten run to pip Ebbsfleet. But the club's again carried on, going on from strength to strength. And when you think what we're up against, budget-wise in this league, and teams, the amount of squads that we're up against, and all of the other bits and pieces that go with it, it's been a remarkable 3 years, mainly from the players. I think the players give everything for this football club, and we ended up finishing third last season. And the problem has always been, is how do you go into League Two with the football club? When we've got such a fantastic community model, with the pitch, and unfortunately the league aren't going to bend on the 3G pitches. I don't think it will bend in my time in football. So it left us with a real dilemma. Do you go into League Two and probably bankrupt the football club, because that's what it could have done, or do you stay as a competitive National League club? And the reality is our budget would put us in around 14, 15 or 16 in this league, and the last 3 years we've managed to better that. And it's I think for the next man in charge here, it's going to be the job that anything from 16, 18 above should always be considered a success.
You say about the 90-10, we had the Bobby Traynor show in your second year here, and then the following year play Carshalton having clinched the league, so two different extremes.
Well, there's two other times that I doubted whether I could keep driving, because at that point we weren't doing the mornings, we were doing the evenings. So I was working during the day, and then leaving Winchester, Southampton at 4 o'clock, and then it took me 2.5 hours in the evenings to get up here. We then train at the school with these portable floodlights, and it was, I remember, I think we were 25 points clear of Kingstonian in second place, and the playoffs obviously came along on that at that time. Second should have been automatically promoted anyway. In my opinion, I still think that's the case. Then Bobby Traynor scored certainly one, if not two, of the best goals we're ever going to see on a night's football. And I remember driving back down the motorway that night thinking I didn't particularly want to manage in the Ryman Premier anymore. I think we'd had 2 years of that, and I felt we more than deserved 25 points clear to have gone up, and we also suffered injuries prior to the game. So playoffs have been particularly unkind to me during my tenure here, and we can go through the Staines one. I think we didn't deserve at that time, we weren't a good enough team to go up, but the Kingstonian one we did, and thankfully I managed to bike down on the Gum Shield that summer, because we came back and romped the Ryman League. And again, favourite memory was beating Carshalton here on the Easter Monday. Again, probably 1,500 people in, and then having the celebrations on the pitch after.
I remember being with you and several other people at Bromley on the Sunday afternoon when Cray beat Bury, and it clinched the title. Yeah,
I mean, it's that's the sort of commitment that you end up with, and we knew that if they got the result that day, then we'd have won it. And I remember all of us. There's a lot of Sutton supporters.
It was Cray's biggest defence of the season.
Half it was Sutton supporters, and say that was in amongst some committee members at the time and directors and myself. And it was lovely walking out that ground knowing that we'd achieved what we wanted to, which is to get the back club to a National League South level. As
well as the league success, of course, the FA Cup, which nobody will ever forget a couple of seasons ago. What are your memories of that?
Just remembering still that I still haven't watched or been able to watch the game back. I don't know why. maybe the events after the game, maybe as well. But all I remember is thinking we've been drawn at home to Forest Green, and at that point they were by far and away the best side that I'd seen in the league. Really concerned that we wouldn't get through, and then Rory popped up with that last minute winner, having gone 1-0 down. I remember they getting drawn away to Dartford, and that's possibly one of the best matches I've been involved in up here, because it was 3-2, could have been 3-3 to them. Goals kept flying in left, right and centre. The quality of the goals was outstanding. And to beat Dartford 6-3 away, that was a good result, you know, not talked about anymore in the context, but to beat Forest Green first and then Dartford away. And then we drew Cheltenham, and that's when the BBC started first. I remember, Clem was on the touchline with me, and I think we scored a goal when he was talking to me, I remember that. And then Rory again, that last minute, and it's all of a sudden these little things kept happening. Then we got for us, what we thought was the fantastic draw against Wimbledon, and again the reality was, as a League One side, that we would go out. I remember then the full houses coming, you know, the full house against Wimbledon, drawing 0-0, deserved to win on the day, and no one gave us a chance. I remember Nicky Bailey was out injured after the first game, and I just thought we're going to really do well here to be competitive. And that probably led to the best night of my footballing life. You know, to go to Wimbledon and beat them in the replay, knowing that we'd already drawn Leeds United, knowing that we were going to earn 250,000 for the TV game. And I'll never forget the night. It was very impromptu, just saying to everyone, let's all go back to the club and have a drink. And the amount of supporters that came back, and I'll never forget them clapping the players through into the bar. That was a brilliant, brilliant night. And I remember Jamie Collins and a couple of others staying in that room.
Do you think it became less enjoyable the further we got in that run?
Not less enjoyable. I think that up to the Leeds game, it was. I mean, the Leeds United game was amazing. Again, people don't actually talk about us beating Leeds United. You know, we have beaten Leeds United, one of the biggest clubs in England, and we deserved to again on the day. You know, we were fantastic. Deacon again was outstanding, but you know, the captain stood up in a pressure situation. Scored a monumental goal really for this football club, and where it got, like you said, almost out of kilter was, you know, we watched our ball come out for Sutton, and then the ball come out, it was Arsenal, and I just remember running up and down in my own living room, like so excited, but I didn't really realise from that day onwards what life would be like. It was an incredible time that basically engulfed the whole football club. And I've got to say that, you know, forgetting the game where I thought our players were magnificent on the day, I thought Arsenal were as well. I thought Arsenal as a club were amazing. They had such class about them as a club. Wenger on the night was unbelievable. But you know, for Arsenal to then also want to give us back the gate receipts to put into the pavilion, it just shows what a class act they are. And it was, as I said, it was a month of non-stop interviews, non-stop press, as you well know. I mean, both you and I nearly finished us off at that point. So, yeah, it was. I remember not doing any work for about a month, and I remember that. I remember the downside of that as well. And 2 weeks of almost sort of, because it continued, and obviously it continued for other reasons as well, didn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And then sort of last season, highest ever league placing. And again, frustration of the Roaring game, and more, you know, frustration of the game in more ways than one, in a way.
Yeah, I think in my heart of hearts, and as I said, not everyone, you know, will particularly want to agree with this, but in my heart of hearts, I knew that it was going to cost us almost the whole pot of promotion. Almost that whole 900,000 you get was going to be taken away from us by having to take the pitch up and then putting a suitable grass pitch down. And when we looked at the overriding cost of what League Two are, you know, there's a real danger, in my view, that the club could be engulfed in a financial crisis, because, you know, you're talking probably £2,000 just to get doctors and an ambulance here, and you know, I think you have 2 ambulances, 2 doctors. It's just an incredible. You have to have a chief executive. You know, they're 80 grand a year, and you started looking at it, and you know, it was a surreal feeling, desperate to win any football match, but also desperate knowing that if we did go up, it might be a real problem. And I think, you know, we've not talked about it publicly, but that is something that bothered me for a long, long time.
And looking back, just cover the whole 11 years, one particular high spot?
Beaten Wimbledon. Beaten Wimbledon away, knowing that we'd got, and that goes just about in front of Leeds United. I would say, I can't remember which game it was, but I remember beating Ebbsfleet here to win the Conference South title, and the pressure we were under, and the 20 odd games that we'd gone unbeaten. I think Dan Fletcher got across the near post and we beat Ebbsfleet here. That was an incredible day for me. But there's been some good ones. You know, we've had some bad ones.
Yeah, I was going to
we mentioned, you know, we mentioned Tooting Mitcham and we mentioned Ramsgate, but
Dover.
I think Kingstonian was the hardest one to take. Dover, again, we were way in front of them, and we picked up 5 horrendous injuries before this is why the playoffs aren't fair. You know, for 40 odd games we had a consistent team. For the last month we started getting injuries to Downer, to Charlie Clough. I'll never forget it. People were dropping around me like flies, and we ended up playing, I think, 3 of the reserve team in one of the games. I think the away game, and it, you know, it's very, very difficult. And that was another heartbreak, losing to Dover. Losing to Alton in the FA Cup was a classic, as was losing to Burgess Hill here, and that was probably the other serious time that I considered whether I could go and keep going, because the one thing that, you know, it's hard unless you've been in my position. It's very, very hard to appreciate getting up at 7 o'clock to try and get here for 9:30 or 9, doing it every day, and then it's the travelling that takes it out of you really. And that's been the only factor. If Sutton was half an hour away from me, I genuinely believe that I would have been at this club for as long as Bruce had been would have been here with me. And you know, the view from home as well. You know, they weren't seeing a lot of me, and when they did see me, I was often sort of tired, and you know, I had to take that into account as well. How, you know, the family were feeling about me, and you know, as I said, my health as well, making sure that those 4 hours a day in the car wasn't going to, you know, eventually finish me off.
One thing we haven't mentioned, the average attendance probably when you joined us around 300 or 400. Average attendance now somewhere just short of 2,000. Must be hugely proud of the way that our supporters have reacted to the way the last 11 years have gone.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's an absolutely crucial part to this, and that was the decision, which again, you know, everyone backed me here when I came up with the idea. I mean, there's a lot of traditional people here at Sutton. Fantastic traditional non-league football club, and I didn't really know exactly how everyone would think about not having traditional grass. But you know, if we'd have been playing on Wembley, I wouldn't have necessarily advocated it. But the fact is that last season, I remember we had some really good wingers, really good actual touch players. They just couldn't play on the pitch out there. The pitch had got to such a poor state that we couldn't play any football on it. And it was that summer that I said to Bruce, look, you know, this is my idea, and this is what I think we should do, and I'm happy financially to help back it. And you know, the board got behind the idea, and I think from that point on we've never looked back. The crowds have been generated, I think, for the amount of people that are here 7 days a week, and we are now a proper community football club. And I think that's probably my proudest achievement. You know, watching Steve King, what he's done with the disabled teams, and how successful they've been and how much they enjoy it, and then you've got the under 8s right the way through to the 18s training here as well, and basically everyone just became one. And the reason the crowds have gone to the extent they have is people have understood what we've been trying to do here, and they understand, I think, what we are as a football club.
And you've obviously had a great relationship with the supporters, and you know, close to winding this up now, but got a message for them, for their support.
Well, you know, amazing 11 years. We've talked about the directors, we've talked about the volunteers, of which of course you're one, and you know, your Ray Wards of this world, the club secretaries. But you know, I think everyone knows how I feel about this football club. I'm going to be a Sutton United supporter for life. So I'm a Southampton supporter. I'll be a Sutton United supporter. And to the supporters, yeah, I think they've been fantastic. It's so important they stick behind because not a lot will change here in the background. The staff and the chairman will stay the same. I think I've left very, very good and deep foundations for the club to continue a real good path, the self-sustainable path, which is what we've all tried to be. And I think, I'd just ask everyone to continue to support the season ticket offers, the shares that we needed everyone to take on board. And I don't know for certain, but if I have a 2, 3, 4 year break, this could just be au revoir, Tony, anyway, because I can see myself coming back in some capacity at some point. I might have to run the club shop even, but that's how much it's meant to me. I just need, as I said, I need 3 to 4 years probably of not driving up the M3, M25. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to be back in some capacity in the future. That's what this football club means to me. And it's a sad. Listen, I've probably shed my tears. The last couple of weeks. There's been some emotional phone calls with Bruce. It's been, as I said, this has been probably one of the hardest decisions I've taken actually in my life, full stop. Let alone in my footballing life. But ultimately. I've done it for the right reasons, which is for once making sure that my family and myself are okay. But I'll stay involved in football. I need to be, as I said, much closer to home. I don't know what level it will be at. It doesn't really, as long as it's non-league. We've been offered league jobs here. We kept it very, very quiet, but we've been offered 2 league jobs in the last 3 years, and we didn't even look at them. But for me, I need to be involved in football. But I just need to take that 4-hour-a-day journey out of my life at the moment. And like I said, you won't see the last of me. I'm going to be coming up certainly for some games. I've already said that to Bruce, and I'll be watching every game because I've still got the Y Scout platform, so I'll still be watching, and I'll still be here to help if anyone ever wants to pick the phone up. But I think today is more a day of coming up to thank the likes of yourself. To thank the chairman, to thank the board of directors. I'm sorry I won't be able to necessarily say goodbye to the supporters, but it's not necessarily the right thing. I think it's about the players today. And as I said, after the game, I'll go in and say goodbye to the lads, and I'll make a quiet exit out the back door. But I think everyone knows how much I care about the club and how much it's meant to me. And you can't have 11 years of your life and it not leave a lasting imprint. And that's something that will never leave me. Whilst he's here as well, he never gets many mentions, but I'd like to thank the boys here from SUSCTV, Tom and James and Clive, and what they've done on a minimal budget has been incredible, to the point where they're now sort of streaming me live games, and the whole process of everyone being in it together and being volunteers and everyone understanding why we were doing it. I don't think there's any other club that can beat that what we've got. And as I said to you guys there, James, it's been a pleasure. Tom, it's been a pleasure. And to everyone out there, I hope you understand the reasons. But thank you for all your support. And like I said, I'm sure I can come up and say goodbye properly next season.
Paul's been absolutely nice from this side as well. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tony. Congratulations. Yeah.
Congratulations on what you've achieved.
On what I'm achieving. All right, mate. Thank you very much. Top man. Cheers, Tony.